For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be in a relationship. 11, 12, 13 years old, some of my friends began to have girlfriends, and I remember being super, super jealous. I grew up homeschooled, Christian. Dating was not a part of our vocabulary as kids or teenagers. It wasn't something that we did. Sure, eventually, once you got to the age of marrying, then you would date somebody, but at that age, it was out of the picture. So I just remember being super jealous at that age. I just want to be in a relationship. And that developed in me a real huge desire to get married. I thought, okay, once I'm 18 years old, I'm going to get married, and finally I'm going to have this relationship that I've wanted so badly. But as I got older, probably 16, 17, I began to have a lot more shame about being single. I would have friends, again, having relationships, maybe a little bit more serious now. And there was just so much shame. Why did I feel shame? Why was that there? Why was that such a prominent feeling within me? Well, it was shame because I should have a girlfriend. I'm a loser if I don't have a girlfriend. Or my friends do. What's wrong with me? And then it was at the core of it, I think it was this fear that I was just undesirable, that somehow I was behind, that all of my other friends were just likable and attractive and cool, good with women, and I was just not. And I wouldn't even be able to get that opportunity because it wasn't a part of how we did things in my family. It wasn't something that I was going to even try to do, is get a girlfriend at 16 years old. But then I graduated, 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, still no girlfriend. No, not at all, And it wasn't like I asked a bunch of girls out or anything like that. It just wasn't happening. Like I just didn't meet anybody that I wanted to date. But then also I'm like, not really getting any opportunities, and I want to have a girlfriend, and I still have this lingering fear that I'm just going to be left alone. Like maybe I'll never meet somebody. And you want so badly just to be with somebody, just to have what other people have. It was kind of annoying sometimes seeing, friends or whatever get in relationships or even get married, honestly, and kind of leave me behind. It sucked. It just really sucked. I would hear people say, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy what? Enjoy my single years? Like people would paint it, usually married people would paint it with this beautiful paintbrush and say, you know what, you have all this time, you have all this energy, you have all these resources, and you could do anything. And I would think, yeah, I could do anything, but I don't want to. I want to do something with my person. I want to travel with that person. I want to spend time with that person. I spend plenty of time on my stuff, too much time. And they say, well, you don't have responsibility now and you don't have, any obligation. It's like, well, maybe I want that. Maybe I want obligation. Maybe I want responsibility. Maybe I actually want to care and love a woman. Maybe I want to lay down my life and sacrifice for a woman. This is what we're called to. This is the way of Jesus. And so there was a lot of frustration there. There was shame, there was frustration. I just really didn't understand at that point. I would ask God, like, why can't you bring somebody into my life? Like, I want to trust that your timing is good, and yet I still kind of don't believe you sometimes. Now, in the midst of some of this frustration that I experienced, looking back, there are some things that I'm thankful for. Like in reality, I should not have, and I'm glad I didn't, date before 18 years old, date before I was really ready to get married. I just don't think that's useful or helpful. I think you can be in relationship, like friendships, with women in group context that can help you get experience in talking to women and relating to them. What dating would give you without all the temptations and the heartbreak and also just like the lack of commitment because you're not ready to make that next step. So I'm really thankful for that. I was having a hard time trusting God's timing, but it developed in me a real patience. And I know there are some of you out there that are watching this that you're like, Isaac, I've been patient for 10 years. I've been patient for 20 years. Like, how much longer do I have to be patient? Like, when is the payoff going to happen? Those are hard questions. I don't have the answer for you. But all I do know is that God pushes us through these trials to grow us closer to himself. And then also looking back, I realized that there were benefits to being single. I reject fully the people that are just like, hey, overwhelmingly, it's just something to enjoy and it's just awesome. It's just an awesome thing. I'm like, yeah, it is if you're enjoying it. But for some people, it is a burden because they long so deeply to be with somebody and provide for somebody and protect somebody. Like that's their longing of their heart. So you're telling them that they should just enjoy something that is really just a burden? No, I reject that. But at the same time, there were benefits that I was able to prep for my relationship. I'm married now. I've been married about a year and a half. And that, like, to be honest, it was so helpful in my spiritual growth, in my work, in my career, in building my ministry, so it could get to a point where I could actually provide for my wife. And, a lot of aspects that I was able to prepare, where if I was in a relationship at 18, 19, 20, I wouldn't have had that. Obviously, people that are in that situation, they grow together and they work through these things together, all that, and that's great. But I can look back and say, okay, I'm thankful that I had that time to prepare. In the midst of those lonely seasons, COVID particularly was really challenging for me. I was working on this ministry, and yet everyone is lonely, but I just really desired to have that person that I could be with. Everyone's with their significant other and they're hunkered down with them. And I'm like, I don't have anybody. And it was about inviting Jesus into those lonely places, to invite him to say, God, I feel alone right now. I feel insignificant. I feel disposable. I just don't feel loved. Can you help me experience your love, your perfect love? Inviting Jesus into those places was essential for me. And then it was realizing something else that it was hard to realize at the time, but now looking back, it's a lot easier to understand, is that marriage and relationship won't fix everything, won't be a fix-all. And you can hear me saying that if you're single on the other side, and you can hear me saying that and you're like, oh, sure, it's easy saying that when you're married, when you're in a relationship. It's like, of course, that doesn't fix everything. And I understand that, and I respect that. Take this with a grain of salt. I'm saying that as much as you long for that connection, that relationship, yes, those things in some sense will be fulfilled, okay? But then there's a deeper longing to be continually connected, to feel continually loved. Even in a relationship, man, you're not feeling always connected. You're not always feeling loved. Those feelings go in and out. Yes, you have the companionship piece and, the sexual piece, and those things are there with that person. But there are times when you feel lonely, when you feel alone, when you guys are going through something, when there's an argument or tension or conflict, and you don't feel together. You don't feel like you're on a team. And those are challenging, and you're still going to need to deal with those feelings and invite Jesus in to those lonely places. So this is an opportunity for you, even as a single person. You want to experience love. You want to experience that connection. And I pray that God would grant you that. But even now, invite Jesus in to that pain, to that insecurity, to that shame, to get him to fill those places, to really make you much more of a whole person, so that when you find that girl, when you find that person, man, you're not trying to get, you're okay, finally, I can get love, I can get acceptance, I can get all this stuff that I need, I can get security so that I can be whole. No, I already have that wholeness in Jesus. So now I'm a cup that overflows when I meet that person, and I can give them love. I can give them acceptance. I can have honest conversations and deal with conflict because I'm not so scared of their rejection because it's tethered to my identity. No, my identity's in God. The truth is, this will either strengthen you or crush you. Many men let it lead them into bitterness and anger against women, against God. God, why did you do this? There's no good women out there. But some men will let the trial strengthen them, and it will grow their faith. I want that for you. I want you to be that man. So even today, I want you to get serious about your relationship with God. Stop hyper-focusing and obsessing about what you don't have in a relationship, what you don't have in companionship. And I want you to look to God for that connection, for that relationship, to go all in once and for all. What does that even look like? Reading the Bible, getting in his word, that's his revelation to you, praying without ceasing, giving God what's on your heart, what you're struggling with, what you're going through, what you're thinking about, asking Him to give you a sober mind, to give you wisdom, give you clarity, give you discernment, strength, courage. Ask God for these things. That means getting connected with a brotherhood, getting involved in a church, in a men's group, joining the Kindred Brothers Club, our weekly video calls that are coming up soon. Like getting in some sort of community, primarily a church, and then other things as well, where you can grow together, where you can walk together. I know this is challenging. I'm with you. I understand. God is with you, and He wants to walk with you through this. Thanks for watching this video, guys. And until next time, keep pursuing the mission.